Hello and welcome to the Hub Podcast. My name is Eric Berger, Director of Marketing for Better Good, the maker of VolunteerHub. On this show, we highlight how nonprofits are using VolunteerHub to recruit, engage, and manage volunteers more effectively. Today, we're continuing our case study interview series with Meals on Wheels Western Michigan. I'm excited to welcome our guest, Kayla Herold, volunteer manager at Meals on Wheels Western Michigan, to the show. Kayla plays a vital role in engaging and coordinating the volunteers who make it possible for her organization to deliver nutritious meals and meaningful support to people within her community. Kayla, thank you so much for joining me today. It's great to have you here. How are you doing?
Hi, Eric. I'm doing really well. Thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor and it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I'm really glad that we get to have a chance to talk today and shine a light on the important work Meals on Wheels is doing. To start off, could you share a little bit about the mission and vision of Meals on Wheels Western Michigan?
Yes, of course. So the mission of Meals on Wheels Western Michigan is to provide quality nutrition services in a supportive environment to promote the health and independence of older adults. To make this a reality, we provide a wide range of meal and nutrition services to seniors in Kent and Allegan counties. And our vision is no senior hungry or forgotten.
Also, thank you so much for sharing that. I definitely think discussing the mission gives a clear picture of your organization's purpose. So building on that, could you walk us through what your role looks like from a day-to-day perspective?
Yeah. So, as most volunteer managers know, day to day is not necessarily the same. But I would say, on average, really my role is to engage, invite, and retain volunteers into our organization by providing support for them and just really good onboarding. I work with other departments to identify what are the volunteer needs within our department to make sure that we have volunteers placed where they're going to be most helpful, but also will be a good fit for those certain volunteers. So it really depends like day to day. Like this morning, I was touring a potential partner around to see how they can fit into our organization. And other days, I'll head out to one of our job sites and we'll do onboarding for volunteers. So each day is a little bit different, but that's kind of the nuts and bolts of it.
You gotta love when each day is different, though. It's always something exciting going on, I'm sure. So to give our audience just a little more context, a lot of people are familiar with Meals on Wheels, and you kind of dived into this a little bit. Can you go kind of in more detail about the services that you guys provide?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have three main programs that we provide for seniors. So those are going to be individuals who are 60 plus that live in Kent and Allegan County. We have our home delivered meal program where we go to the homes of seniors who are homebound and we deliver nutritious meals. About 1 in 4 of those clients say that their driver is the only person that they see all week long. So our volunteers that deliver the meals are really the support for them. That's why we call ourselves more than a meal. These meals that are made in our kitchen too are overseen by our registered dietitian on staff and our executive chef. And we're trying to get we're almost at 100% of our meals being completely like scratch cooked, like our hands are on almost every part of the process, which is really exciting. So the food is the catalyst for us reaching out to those homebound seniors. Our second program is our community dining site programs, and that's going to be where more mobile seniors can gather for a meal that's been prepared fresh by our kitchen in one of our 14 dining sites between Kent and Allegan County. And for those individuals to qualify, they just need to be able to get there, be 60 years or older, and live in that particular county. And then our third program is our senior pantry, which services seniors only, so those who are 60 plus. And it is an income qualifying program, but it's the only one that we have. And it's set up just like a little mini grocery store. We use the My Plate model, which means that instead of just handing a box to seniors saying like, here are the fruits, vegetables, meats, dairy products that you are going to receive from us, they actually go and do their own shopping. So each time they shop, they get X amount of fruits, vegetables, meats, dairy products, and so on. So we're all really big here at Meals on Wheels Western Michigan about choice and the dignity of choice, because we know as people age, they tend to have less and less choice, and choice with food is so, so important.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that you touched upon the companionship side, like the driver being one of the only people that the senior sees. I think that's an interesting angle because I know obviously senior loneliness is a big thing. So it's cool that you guys acknowledge that within your service.
Absolutely. And it's very meaningful. I mean, we'll have drivers who have been with us volunteer-wise for over 4 years and they deliver to the same route. They see the same individuals. They know when everybody's garbage day is. They can help bring the garbage cans out. They really get to know the individuals, and those individuals really feel seen, heard, and cared about, which is also really cool.
So when you step back and look at the big picture, do you have any metrics that show the impact or any kind of measurable outcomes from the program?
Yeah, so right now we currently serve just over 6,000 seniors annually. We've served over 95,000 meals at our community dining sites. We've delivered over 500,000 meals to homebound seniors this past year, and we've had over 20,000 visits to our senior pantry. So we know that we are servicing a lot of those individuals. We are looking to grow our metrics even more because we know in Michigan at least 10,000 people turn 65 every day. So we know our services are going to be even more necessary as time continues on. So we really just want to be prepared for that and knowing that these numbers are going to increase. We do also try to get client feedback too, and especially about our food, because we want to make sure we're providing good food. And we've always gotten really good feedback from our clients that the food is good, it's nutritious, they are enjoying it. And about 73% of our clients say that because of Meals on Wheels, they eat more fruits and vegetables. So again, we're really focused on that nutrition piece of things and providing nutritious food because we know it's hard to access, specifically when you get older and or if you are homebound.
Wow, that is truly amazing impact. And in order to achieve that, I know volunteers play a critical role. How many volunteers do you guys engage with annually?
About 1,500 volunteers annually. That does include individuals who come on a weekly basis or monthly basis, as well as some corporate groups that might come in once or twice a year. Yeah, we're looking this year to grow that even more with the help of Volunteer Hub. Actually, that was the catalyst to us wanting to switch because our old system, it would take between 5 and 8 touch points to get one volunteer through our doors. So now that we have a far easier system for them to just be able to come in and volunteer with us, it's made already a huge impact in the short time that we've used Volunteer Hub.
Yeah, and I think that is a great time to shift to Volunteer Hub.
Yeah.
So, what challenges or inefficiencies, and I know you just touched on some of them, did your team face when managing volunteers before Volunteer Hub?
Yes, so the system we were using before, once an application was completed, we would get an email. We would then have to reach out to that person, and then we'd have to wait to hear back, then schedule them. So lots of back and forth before we could even get them scheduled for their very first day. The other system that we used did not have a lot of reporting mechanisms either, which made it really difficult for us to pull accurate, good data about our volunteer hours. It wasn't able to pull like demographic information, all kinds of things. It wasn't very customizable either. So we really were kind of like a square peg trying to get into a round hole where it just like was not working. And that was the biggest frustration. It was also very cumbersome for people to complete the application as well, whereas with Volunteer Hub, it's a lot easier. Our old system also was not mobile friendly, so we'd have a lot of people struggling on their phones with it. And obviously, Volunteer Hub is very mobile friendly, which makes it a ton easier for our volunteers to use, current volunteers to use, and new volunteers are also saying it's a seamless process to come in. So a lot of those holes that we had are being filled with Volunteer Hub and just creating a smoother onboarding process, which has been so amazing for me and my team.
And once you decided to move forward with Volunteer Hub, can you describe your experience learning the software? How was the training and support on the Volunteer Hub side?
It was amazing. I was on the support site before we had our very first implementation meeting. And so I was able to watch all of the webinars and kind of build Volunteer Hub on paper for what I wanted it to look like. And meeting with Matt was just very, very incredible. He's very knowledgeable. All of the questions and concerns that I had and onboarding processes I wanted to implement, he was so knowledgeable in working with specifically like Meals on Wheels organizations throughout the country that it was easy. Anytime I had a question, he always had a really good answer or a really good workaround for something that we needed, which has been really, really fabulous. Can't speak highly enough to the training, the support, and just how things were broken down. It was very, very easy to complete. Customer service was always there when I had a question, and it's just been a really, really positive experience overall.
And going back to talking about Volunteer Hub, what was like the main pain point that you were trying to solve in moving to Volunteer Hub from the previous solution that you used?
Yes. So I would say the biggest pain point was simply how many touch points it took to get someone into our building. So now with the way that we have things set up with the workflows and all of that good stuff, volunteers don't even have to talk to us. They can just self-select and self-sign up instead of waiting to hear back from us and us getting back to them, maybe missing an email. So I think the biggest thing is just the amount of steps it took to get one person in was just far too many and it took far too long. And we've cut that almost 100%, right? There's like, it's one step now, not 5 to 10.
And you guys are using the kiosk too, correct?
We are, yes. And that has been wonderful too for just hours. Before we were using paper and pencil and volunteers, like trying to decipher volunteers' handwriting, like what time did they come in or out of? And now with using the kiosk has been really great. It's been very easy for our volunteers to adapt to as well. I think what makes it so easy is that it can be a phone number, your first name or your last name. So there's no special username you have to remember or weird combination of numbers. So that's been really, really fabulous for us and for our volunteers.
That's great. And I think you talked about reporting for a second. Can you provide like a few more details as far as the value you see in the reporting features in Volunteer Hub?
Yes. So the way that, it's easy just to pull reports. In the prior system, I'd have to pull like 6 different things and combine them into an Excel spreadsheet. Whereas with Volunteer Hub, if I want to know all of the hours, that's very easy to see. If I want to know how many unique volunteers, very easy. I love the custom reports. It's made a couple of our larger events a lot easier to track who has signed up and if they have any additional questions. Really just the ways that you can use reports and the ways you can customize reports has been very significant for us. And the very simple things of even pulling hours, I used to spend like an hour and a half every month pulling together a report that I give to my supervisor. And now that's cut down to like 15 to 20 minutes. So it's also definitely a time saver too.
Yeah, definitely. So just a couple more questions. Looking at Volunteer Hub as an investment, how would you assess its return? And then where do you see the most value being realized?
Yeah, so I would say for us, the return has been incredible. I think the biggest return we're getting is just the ease of use from it and just the things we can do more so on the back end, like the reporting. That's been so huge.
Perfect. If another nonprofit leader was on the fence about using a volunteer management solution, what insights would you share based on your experience? The reason I'm asking is I know a lot of nonprofits are tight on budget. So what would you say to somebody that's on the fence about volunteer management software?
I would say do it because what you pay for the software, you're going to save in labor and you'll be able to do more of the volunteer recognition. My team and I, prior to using Volunteer Hub, were so tied to our desks doing so much admin that we weren't really able to get out there and engaging with volunteers. And that's part of retention, right? If you want to keep volunteers, you have to know your volunteers. You have to be a known person to them. And so I would just say, like, regardless, volunteer management system is worth it simply because then you can actually do the volunteer management piece and not the volunteer admin piece.
Perfect. And I like to end on this question, and it's if somebody wants to volunteer with Meals on Wheels Western Michigan, how would they do so?
Yeah, so if people want to volunteer with Meals on Wheels Western Michigan, they just need to go to our website. We've got a little volunteer button and then get themselves signed up through VolunteerHub and one of our many ways that they can volunteer either the kitchen, pantry, delivery, admin work. We've got a little bit of everything.
Well, I just want to say again, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your insights. It's been inspiring to hear how Meals on Wheels Western Michigan is fulfilling its mission, engaging volunteers and leveraging Volunteer Hub to strengthen those efforts. And for listeners, if you'd like to learn more about Meals on Wheels Western Michigan, or if you're interested in volunteering there, you can visit their website at mealsonwheelswesternmichigan.org. And if you'd like to learn more about Volunteer Hub and how it can help your organization recruit, engage, manage volunteers more effectively, head over to volunteerhub.com. Thanks again for tuning into the Hub podcast. If you've enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe and share it with others in the nonprofit space. We'll be back soon with more stories and insights from organizations making a difference.